Hello everybody, here for my monthly update. This one's for November. Starting off, here's one of my oldest patches of asparagus. It's just this beautiful, vibrant, bright, vibrant yellow. Beautiful, wispy ferns. There's still some green and some of the younger branches that came up a bit later. But all that was all green and healthy all summer long. All that energy that it created pulled down into the base, into those roots, making a huge root mass. There's a few videos from other people you can see digging up like a 20-year-old asparagus plant. There's a massive amount of roots underneath that thing. That's what stores the energy that we pick and eat as asparagus spears in spring. So I'm so happy to see how big and happy and healthy that plant is. You know, the grass is still a little bit green, but it's getting browner and browner. Just the natural processes of it all. Here's where I showed how to make a permaculture island, or an island guild. So lawn all around it, but there I've got a chrysanthemum planted, and despite the cold, the chrysanthemum's sending up new growth. I don't know if that's good or bad. I'm not super familiar with chrysanthemums, but all the way around it, everything else I've planted has gone dormant. Over here I've got, I think it was a balloon flower that doesn't go to seed, so it won't go too crazy. But that one I planted, and I put some garlic under the mulch all around it. And there's the shea tree right in the middle of it all. Survived a couple frosts without much damage, so it's still getting energy down in the root, but hopefully it gets ready for bed soon. I'm gonna start walking this way. This is invasive Japanese honeysuckle. I keep trying to clear it as fast as I can, but it's just a relentless, stubborn plant. I've cut it so many times and it just keeps coming back. So I keep trying to fight it. There's tons of it everywhere. But walking over here, here's where I filmed those videos. Did pretty well on mulberries. Huge mulberries. Didn't plant these. These were all volunteers from the birds. This one, despite being just wild or invasive cultivar of wild origins, it's a everbearing. It starts a little earlier than the rest, and it drops berries all summer long. It's getting ready for bed. It's not the best tasting, but it does produce a lot of simple berries. I recently trimmed a lot of the dead branches from all around it and the invasive honeysuckle around it. Piled them up all along as a bit of mulch for a chestnut tree. As you all know, my long-term goal is to plant and grow chestnuts to be able to pay property tax and to pay the living expenses, while I slowly turn all of the rest of everything and in between them into a permaculture forest. Over here we've got another chestnut. This one's much bigger and happier. Gets a little more sun right now, but it reached the top and came out, starting to turn nice, pretty yellow. And down there is a sassafras that I'll probably have to move because it's too close by far, but sassafras was there first. It's one of my few successful sassafrasses I've planted, so I'll move it once it's had a few more years to get stable. But moving along, this was like my playhouse area when I was a kid. And it sort of became, over the years, my first attempts at permaculture before I even knew what permaculture would be. But I picked wild raspberries out in the woods and stuck them in the ground. And in there's my old sandbox from when I was little, and it holds water, so it's full of wild iris that I picked. Just some blue flag iris from ponds way out in the woods. I'd sneak out there with a bucket and dig some up. Never took it all, of course, nowhere near. Over here there's another asparagus. Walking over this way, another one of my chestnut trees right here, looking quite happy and healthy. As you can see, there's a ton of them. I planted 100 by hand with nothing but a shovel. Those are some of my earliest videos, so The interior fence is just where the dog run is at. My parents have dogs. This is their property. And so they get the free run of this inner fence. But the outer fence is ours too, so that's why there's trees out there all the way till the tree line in the back. So there's the chestnut portion of everything. You can see some of them are starting to go to bed, like that one that's sort of in the middle has gone kind of brown. That one up there with yellows going kind of brown. But these are the chestnuts. A lot of the stuff that's still protected inside the tube is probably being kept warmer. So these are still green, but as things keep getting cold and further down, you can tell it's starting to get ready for sleep. But yep, that's the chestnut portion of the video. I'm gonna give this a cut right around here, and I'll see you all very soon in the next area. All right, here we go. All right, we're picking things up over on my fruit orchard part of things. Here's some of the gourds that I harvested in the last video. It looks like they're drying and hardening up just fine. So hopefully I get to have these gourds preserved for future projects. Walking along here, I have another chestnut that I planted earlier than those others. When I planted this one, it's from a different seller. This was One Green World. It died, but it came back from the root. So the variety name for that, I don't know anymore. That's just probably a seedling. Walking along over here, we have right here, Rose of Sharon. Died back for the winter. Got some mint around it, some chives around it. Got a little bitty, right here, little bitty lavender. Right here's Chicago Cold Hardy fig. It's been hit by a couple frosts, so it's all died back. It's about time for me to prune it and remove the layers. I don't think the fig's quite ripened myself. Yeah, maybe. Maybe some of the figs ripened, but let me tear one open. Nope, all green in there. So again, this year was also just another failure. Yep, nothing. So it develops figs, but I'm not getting them to ripen in my environment. I'll keep trying. So this was a Chicago Cold Hardy fig. It's lived several winters already. So there's one of the things that changes this time of year. Frosts have knocked all the leaves off, so I gotta bury that shortly. Shipova pear that I did that scratch test video on, so I know it's alive. The weeds got really bad in here, but you can see there's asparagus. Need to make some kind of a game plan over winter on how I'm going to fight the weeds. Blueberry, asparagus, comfrey, very happy looking comfrey. Walking onion looks kind of disheveled down there, but it's still alive. There was the top of it last year, and it's lost most of its leaves, but it's got lots of really healthy looking growing tips. This is, what's the word? Saskatoon or Juneberry or Serviceberry. A lot of names for it, but that's what that one is. That one struggles a lot. I haven't got it to be healthy yet, but it's only been in the ground for a year and a half roughly. Right here we've got some strawberries and sea kale. Strawberries and sea kale are both low to the ground and protected. They'll probably keep trucking for a while. That looks like a sucker that was coming off one of my apple trees, so it's probably dwarf rootstock. I'm going to let it grow and get stronger and then move it somewhere else for propagation's sake. There we have a lungwort. Wort, of course, being Old English for herb, so that's supposed to be a medicine that's good for your lungs. It's its first year in the ground, so I'm going to let it get stronger before I do anything with it. It's a hosta back there that's all yellow. Hopefully that's just the natural way they go to bed. Speaking of naturally going to bed, here's my my Mayoga ginger. Mayoga ginger just kind of dies back the moment it's hit with a frost. It's all just gone away. I could probably still harvest, yeah, I could still eat the bottoms of some of these, but it doesn't smell nearly as good as it normally does. But yeah, so I'll have this stuff come back next year. This is all Japanese ginger. And it all just pops right up like that now that it's at the end of its season. Just pops right up out of the ground and lays down. And I'll just leave it roughly where I got it as its own mulch for winter. Here we have a sunchoke, not in the best of spots. It's a little too close for the apple tree. I'm going to damage roots trying to dig it out, so I'm probably just going to start chopping dropping it next year. That's how I'll handle it. But there are strawberries running out from around it. Don't know how the strawberries got there, but they're there. Another comfrey, looking happy and healthy. Yep, making my way around. Buried under weeds, but it's looking healthier. Maybe the weeds helped it, but there's thyme. Just standard garden thyme. There's some asparagus growing up right there. Push my way through some of the weeds. Here's my marshmallow. It's my first year, and all this stuff is seeds for marshmallow. So if anyone wants to buy marshmallow seeds from me, let me know. More sunchokes in bad spots. And if I'm not mistaken, these sure do look like wine cap mushrooms. They're not red anymore, so they've probably been out here a few days, but those look like wine caps to me. So I could probably bring these in and eat them, but I think I will just kind of bring them elsewhere and toss them on the ground to grow more wine caps for me. So as I walk, toss them around. But here, and here, and here, those are all, I believe, sweet woodruff. It's an herb that I've been trying to get to establish. There's of course more strawberries everywhere. Oh, there's more sweet woodruff back there. And there's a sea berry that I think a rabbit chewed down the mother plant. Rabbit chewed down the mother plant, so I just transplanted it over. Then I think the mother plant came back too, so I got 2 for 1. But there's some sea kale and the mother plant, as I mentioned. So that's a female sea berry. All my males keep dying, or at least getting knocked down. So I won't get any fruit still. There's some, what's it called, avocado, dying because it's too cold for it, but it's a great big lavender plant. Lots of raspberries, more sunchokes. That's quite a lot of sunchokes, if no one had figured that out yet. But making my way through here, there's 2 comfrey plants in this area. Somehow there's a little oak tree down there I may try to pull up and transplant, or dig up and transplant. The sweet woodruff in this patch is looking much better than the other patches. And right in there, there's a single bee balm, kind of purplish in color. So there's a bee balm. But yep, big, happy, healthy, comfrey plant. And under an apple tree. Seems that the yellow, I had a yellow, what's the word? Passion flower. It came back, but it seems that the cold knocked it down again. That's okay. If it came back, it'll probably come back again, stronger and stronger. So I'm excited for that in the future. Right over here, there's another bee balm. This one's going to be a big red bee balm. It looked like it took the frost a little worse, but it's still alive. Asparagus, yet again. Just been pushing my way through some of the harder to reach spots so that you can see some of the stuff I don't always get to share. More raspberries, aronia berries. Thinking both of these aronias are too close to that plum in the middle, I think I'm gonna dig them both out and move them out into other parts of the property. But yeah, I'll come back that way here in a second. I'm not making a lot of videos for you guys now because it's getting cold, so I might as well make this one a nice long one. But here's one of my raspberries, actually still ripening raspberries. So that's quite impressive. I don't know if they'll be any good, but it's still trying to ripen raspberries. It's surrounding an apple tree. Keep walking over this way. Here's where I dug up all those chufa nuts a few videos ago. And plum, another plum. There's radishes, winter radishes. There's one of the tomato plants. All that brown is tomato plants. Frost just took it out, took it down. Such is life, you know. Annuals don't last. But all that mass of strawberry around this cherry tree, another comfrey, some what's it called? Walking onions in there, asparagus. Yep, lots and lots of stuff out here. Lots of interesting things. Another great big patch of what's this, comfrey, and a jujube tree. Really excited to see if I ever get any jujubes. There's another patch of radishes. And as I walk over here, strawberries sneaking through over there. But there's all sorts of things to see. Right here, strawberries. This was my Potawatomi bean, and it still, even after the first frost, produced me just a couple more pods. Looks like there's some more pods on the ground. So just a couple more dry beans for winter. Keep us fed through the winter season. Got sweet bay magnolia, walking onion underneath it. That was all squash. Came up with compost. Another spot for radishes. I made a video on what I did with the radishes. I just kicked the mulch aside and sprinkled them on the floor. Let them do their thing. Here we have another jujube. This one froze to the ground last winter, so we'll see. Cold hardy yucca, asparagus, another walking onion in the back. Making my way over here, another comfrey. There's potatoes all around this. I haven't harvested yet, so there's potatoes here. And that's a Cornelian cherry or Cornelian dogwood. Big patch of sage. I planted a Szechuan pepper here, but it did not survive our cold. Going back just a little, I almost passed up. All the brown foliage is, oh, what's the word on that? Completely lost the word on that. River locusts. So that's what that one is. And these red leaves are aronia. Another asparagus in front of it, but that's an aronia bush. Some columbine flowers growing underneath it, and a daylily behind that. Right here, I had a ground cherry plant. I don't know if any of it managed to produce seeds, but I really hope it did. So I'm going to just kind of take these, sprinkle them around. Don't know if any of those contain seeds, but I'm hopeful, and I'll do that again later on. But keep walking this way. We've got more asparagus. See, right there's cutleaf coneflower, and of course an aronia in the center. So that's all looking quite nice. Looking all around this. I believe I had some potatoes around this too. If I get desperate, I can start digging for them. There is some baptisia planted around this. Right over here, walking onion, asparagus, and goumi berry. Quite excited for goumi berry. This variety, Sweet Scarlet. trying really hard to find a source for some of the other varieties. Right here is another comfrey. This one's a Kusa dogwood. Another patch of sage. Another Kusa dogwood. Planted sage there, but it didn't make it, so nothing of this whole planting has passed away. Nothing that I planted is here. But man, those Szechuan trees were gorgeous. Those thorns were incredible. So if you're in a warmer zone, I do highly recommend them. But back over here, here's my other goumyberry. This one I did some quite heavy trimming and put a taller tree shield on it, because I find the deer do chew them up pretty bad all winter. So by doing this, I've tried to protect it and let it grow into a taller tree. Because I'd really like some goumyberries. I'd love to try them. I've told that they're quite sour, kind of chewy. Here's some sweet potato leaves from the harvest. I'm going to have to shoot a video on the harvest soon. Sweet potatoes did way better this year. There's another false indigo. Here's aronia. Here is what's special to me about aronia. Those are still edible berries. They're not very good tasting because they've sat out for so long, but they're just dried up little raisins. I could collect them any time between when they were ripe to now, dry them up myself, or let them dry on the plant, or, as I'm going to do because they're native, I'm just going to leave them for the birds. Let the birds eat them. So it's winter bird feed, and that brilliant red foliage is great. Here's one of the patches I had sweet potatoes, so I harvested a ton of them. Some of the biggest sweet potatoes ever, and I never really cared for them. The year before I tried really hard to care for them. Got nothing. This year I abandoned them and they do great. So I've harvested the potatoes from around this tree. Probably need to remulch it, but there's some walking onion, asparagus there, some asparagus in the back. This one's a, what's the word for this one? This is a plum. Oh hey, I missed some potatoes in here. Not a lot, and it looks like they got hit by the frost, but yeah, there were some potatoes down there still. I'm just gonna tuck it way down into the mulch, because I just pulled the mulch out in a circle, and next year I'll probably have a potato come up there. Sweet, free food next year. Alright, here for my other river locust, and there is bee balm. This one's an Easter bee balm. Lots of cut leaf coneflower. Last aronia, another asparagus. Coming over here. I've planted a lot of stuff adjacent to this, but not all of it's done too well. But we've got, I've got beard in my mouth. Asparagus. Horehound is still doing well, so I could still collect and dry it for winter medicine. I've got a tayberry that's just going out of control, trying to escape the area it's in. And the medlar tree itself in the middle is looking just fine. So, quite curious about that, how that's going to go. Walking over this way, got great big beautiful green gauge plum. I'm really hoping we get something from it this year. Ponca blackberry looks great, looking healthy. Working my way over this way. Got a asparagus. Got some dry beans I'm ready to harvest for next year's seed. Those are just a, trying to think of the word, those are just a green bean variety, Blue Lake. Quite hard to collect seeds in my experience, but that sea of green is all Szechuan, cut leaf coneflower. So cut leaf coneflower I'm very excited for. And then this was all grapevine and aronia. It's all dying back for the year. Not aronia. Oh man, I'm losing my words today. But Hopnus, Apios americana. There's a mulberry there. I'm really hoping survives winter because it'll be my second time trying to plant that variety. Here's my amaranth. Really need to harvest it. Back there, I believe, is Brussels sprouts. I've been trying all year to grow Brussels sprouts, so hopefully they start forming up before they freeze to death. There's more beans because I've also planted my rabbit beans over here. They just kind of ran along the floor, so I've got more beans to harvest. Walking this way, 2 more asparagus patches, lots of dry beans to harvest. Big apple tree right there, or start of an apple tree. Yep, start working my way over this way. Uh-oh. The freeze has revealed to me, I think that this is rootstock that's come up through the tube on my pear. So in spring, I will probably have to take off the guard and snip that at the base. But that's going to be a job for spring. I try to avoid anything like that in fall. More Soshan, more asparagus, more mint. Yeah, I try to avoid pruning in fall. I'd rather prune in spring. This has better health in my experience. Alright, walking over this way. Here's where one of my other sweet potato patches was. I may have missed some. Yeah, that's definitely a sweet potato root. I don't know if it's going to lead us to anything. But yeah, I'm learning sweet potatoes do really, really well in mulch. Wow. Nope, didn't lead to anything, but yeah. I planted last year some of the best varieties for sweet potatoes for my area. I did the research, I did everything right. I got nothing. This year, I threw away some Korean sweet potatoes from the supermarket and ended up with some absolutely amazing, huge, bigger than I'd ever seen sweet potatoes. So apparently throwing them under mulch works really well in my region, my short season. All these were volunteer tomato plants. Now they're all going to break down and rejoin the earth. All around my apple trees. Probably reseed themselves just fine as well. But lots and lots of that. Some comfrey. Walking up this way, one of my peach trees. Right there is a praying mantis egg casing. Yep. Oh my god, my hands are not working for me. There we go, praying mantis egg casing. So yeah, even though I don't have a lot of confidence that peaches are going to go well here, I've heard they can, I've heard they can't. At least we're going to get praying mantises next year out of those eggs. Walking over here, there's some Swiss chard, looking great. I planted it and forgot about it, and it's never been watered or cared for. More asparagus, another apple, some more amaranth. If I don't harvest this year, I won't be heartbroken because they'll just reseed quite heavily. Another comfrey, another apple tree, some carrots, another peach tree. Over here is an area that I normally do a tilled garden, but I was just too busy this year to get it started. So I just walked through with a deer food plot mix because I didn't have any cover crops on hand, and I just threw it everywhere. So this is a deer feedlot mix for people who fatten up their deer or take care of them, draw them in. I don't understand it entirely, but these are all going to grow, make biomass, get big and healthy. And then next year we're just going to till most of this area in. The rest I may have to kill with scythe. But this end I do have some things that I'm not going to till. I showed this French drain, which a lot of weeds have grown straight through. There's comfrey there that I did plant. There's tulips around the trees. And the trees are hazelnuts. So right here we have these beautiful hazel trees. Well, I still find them beautiful, but they're losing their leaves. Some people don't find them beautiful at this stage. Lots of goosefoot popped up on that side. There's tons of goosefoot. And then another comfrey and another hazel. And another collection basin where the water will fill in between the cracks and the wood chips. But, yep, so there's all that. I'm trying to decide if I want to show off any more of the fruit orchard. It's pretty consistently just gone to bed. There's not a lot to see there. But, yeah, we'll head on to the walnut orchard and start bringing things to a close. So, here we go over here. We've got our two little spots for sassafras trees. Here we've got my cold hardy almond. Still has a couple green leaves left. And wrapped around it is hopness. All the hopness has gotten frozen hard enough that it has all died back. Hopness is not cold hardy. Well, I mean, the roots are cold hardy, but above ground it is not a perennial vine, it is a perennial plant. These will come back next year, these vines will, but all this is just being chaffed. Let it break up, let it rejoin the soil. It's going to be great stuff for the soil, but yeah, it's got to grow those back next year. I will probably come through here, because this is all wood chip, and dig up as many of these hopness as I can this year. And I want to take them back to the places that they would have been growing natively before they all disappeared. Start to rejoin them with nature. A few potatoes that grew after I harvested this spot, so I'll have to dig those up and see some more potatoes. But here's one of my native plums. Another native plum over there, and then nanny berry. It's gone to bed, but here's one of my wonderful shagbark hickories. And then walking over here, got one of my big, beautiful Japanese walnuts. Another couple back there. And then, as I walk through this way, big, healthy, well, not big, but a healthy comfrey. This one I've already divided twice, I believe. And then you can see all the Apios americana, or hopness, that was growing around here have all died back to the ground. There's some asparagus. And right up here, there was, underneath all this, a, what's the word I'm looking for? There's a tree under all this, and I think it's just been kind of pinned down by everything that fell around it. But somewhere in here there was a tree. I'm just trying to make sure it doesn't grow sideways at the base, but yep, free up that tree wherever it may be at. It was a pawpaw, so pawpaws need shade in their early life. Right here. Right here is the pawpaw. So they need shade in their early life, but it's had a year of shade. I think it's good. Another bee balm, another bean I need to harvest for seeds. And over here there's a black-eyed Susan. And I'm going to leave most of this, but if you take these and kind of crush them up in your hands, the wind's blowing, so I'll probably lose a lot. But, yep, the wind just took it all away. But there are little bitty seeds that are formed in here, so I can just kind of take this and break it up and let it settle into places like where I've got these carrots. Just let it overwinter, and hopefully I'll have more black-eyed Susans pop up. That was a sunflower. So raspberry over here. Another asparagus over here. This is where the gourds were growing. So anything that didn't mature is just gonna compost out. Another patch of carrots I planted. But yep, all this is looking great. Right here from One Green World we have a meter persimmon. I think I've said in previous videos it was a proc. I checked my receipts and everything. This is a meter. Both of them are self-fertile varieties, probably why I got confused. It's a daylily back there. Walking along further, another beautiful black walnut. Right over here we've got beautiful thornless honey locust. I can touch it and I'm not hurt. I've always loved honey locust, but the thorns make them hard to deal with. Great nitrogen fixer, and that will help feed the land. I might see if there's some way I can clone it, otherwise I'll be waiting for seeds. I've just got to pray the seeds are also thornless. My other Japanese walnut. Walking over here, there's one of my cold hardy pecans. I've only got 2 right now. I'm hoping that they'll be able to fertilize each other because they're not clones, they're both seedlings. But now I'm hearing they might need more than that to be sure. Here I have a mango pawpaw. Mango is the variety, I couldn't remember that. And it's got some bee balm growing around it. And here we are with my last walnut, or at least my last Japanese walnut. Now, it has these 2 growths. And again, in spring, I'm going to have to check and see, are they both from the graft, or is one of them coming from the rootstock? If one's from rootstock, I've got to kill it. Otherwise, I got to pick which one I think looks healthier, and I'll kill the one that's not the healthier one too. Here we go. My other pecan. And I recently found out, I'm not sure why I was surprised to learn this, but these carrot seeds, wild carrots, apparently can be ground or otherwise added to food as a spice. So if I turn this upside down and just kind of break it up with my thumb, again the wind will probably just blow them all away, which I'm fine with. But yeah, those little seeds down there that are blowing away as we speak apparently can be added to give sort of a carroty flavor to dishes. So there we go. Another area I didn't till this year. Just been busy with planting trees for the future, but I'll be tilling up a lot more of the land, and then I'll try to be moving to more no-dig practices in the long run. But it takes a lot of time and effort to get all that set up. So, yep. Hopefully that answers any questions and shows off how things are looking this month. And I'll see you all next month, though I doubt I'll have much to show by then. Things are going to start freezing more and freezing deeper. Things are going to disappear. And that's just the way of life. Everything has to go to sleep for the year. One of my cold hardy citrus crosses. Hopefully it makes it another year. It died to the ground last time. But yeah, my beautiful little pond. There's a blueberry I still got to plant really soon. You can tell how dry it is because look at how low the pond has gotten all the way around. But yep, at least the water's very, very crystal clear. You just might even be able to see the pot. There's a water pot that the water lily's in way down there deep at the bottom. But yep, hopefully you all have enjoyed. Hopefully you learned something. Let me know if there's anything in particular you want to see more of in the future. One last comfrey and my double jewel peach. And I'll see you all in the next video. Oh, man, every time I think I'm done, look at the size of that. Big as a red ear slider, that's for sure. That's one of those garden giant or wine cap mushrooms. So, yep, I will see you all in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. And goodbye, everybody. Talk to you soon. Have a great one. If you want to support the channel, I do still have my Patreon, my Etsy, and similar such to help me out. So, thank you, and I'll talk to you later. Goodbye, everybody.